Hey, so this is Erica from Buffalo Aerial Dance. Just wanted to make a quick video in response to the social and political movements that we've been seeing lately that I'm sure everyone is aware of. Specifically the Black Lives Matter movement, the anti-police brutality movement that is in our streets, in our communities. It has sort of become a message that has permeated almost all parts of our lives these days. And first and foremost, I want to say I am all for it. Personally, I am all for it. I am really excited to see Americans speaking out about injustice in what seems like a long overdue moment. But I am reluctant to speak about it on the studio page for a couple reasons. And I wasn't sure if I should do this, but then I thought, I don't want I don't want the fact that Buffalo Aerial Dance hasn't been sharing Black Lives Matter images to be misunderstood. So I want to explain it briefly. There are three main reasons why I've kind of pulled back. I did share a couple, but I've kind of pulled back on sharing messages related to the current movement through the studio. I'm going to give you the overview, and then I'll go back and kind of talk a little more on each one. So the first one is that actions speak louder than words. I want to do something. I don't want to just post, something on Instagram. And people do that, and it's good. It spreads the message. It can be a precursor to action. We start talking about it, and then we start doing stuff. But I'm ready to start doing stuff. And so posting on social media just doesn't seem to have a huge impact to me. And there's a lot of people already doing it. So I don't know that, me posting a couple things on Instagram is going to help much. I think there's other things I can do that will help more. But action is slow. Action is a lot of work. But behind the scenes, I am trying to do some things. Second thing is that I want it to be known that the Buffalo Aerial Dance does not stand for racism in any way. People of all races are welcome, will be respected. Likewise with people of any kind of different background, different sexual orientations, different gender identities. We stand for inclusion and respect of all people. But we stand for more than that, too. Like, there are a lot of things in our society that should be addressed, and maybe the aerial studio is not the place to address them, but they do come up sometimes in conversation there. And I want to hold space for the bigger picture, for racial issues, but, other issues that are important to us, to hold a more general space. And so I am reluctant to highlight any particular issue that is of concern to our culture, because there are so many, and I feel like that's all I would do, is post about all of them. But I do hold space for, it's not just about posting, I do hold space for those discussions to happen about different topics. So, and then the third reason is kind of the opposite of that a lot of us think about this stuff, myself included, a lot of us think about this stuff a lot. Like, even before the George Floyd protests started happening, race was on my mind a lot. Capitalism is on my mind a lot. The president and the crazy things he says and does is on my mind a lot. The environment and climate change is on this stuff is on my mind a lot. And sometimes I need to tune out. Sometimes all of us, and I'm a white person, of course I can say oh, I don't want to think about race right now. But even from what I've heard from people of color, who I've been trying to listen to and see how they're feeling, they need a break too. All of us, even I would bet your most hardcore political activists, sometimes they gotta just stop and watch TV about whatever, do some yoga. So that too. So those three things. So let me go back and just talk a little bit more. First one, actions speak louder than words. That I do want to try to make some arrangements at the studio where we can offer scholarships. That is the action that I am trying to take. First and foremost, it's going to be a long, slow process. I don't even know how much I should say about it because I don't want people to get excited about it, and then, it might be a year before anything happens. I have, for a very long time, I have kept the prices of aerial training pretty low, believe it or not, pretty low. Part of that is reflective of Buffalo, and that Buffalo things still tend to be a lot less expensive than other major cities, because, well, I won't even get into all of that, but I want it to be accessible to people. There's only, we make no profit. We're not registered as a non-for-profit, which is why I can't apply for grants as is, but there's no profit. It is an LLC, and we just try to break even. And that's fine. I'm not in it for the money, but, there are very real expenses of the studio that I have to consider. And so it's not really feasible for me to just start offering scholarships until there's a very, viable financial plan in place to do so. But I want to do so. I am trying to look at ways to get funding. There are ways where I can't, through a fiscal sponsor, I can still apply for grants to be used for scholarships, and not necessarily scholarships for Black people to do aerial. I mean, sure, I would love to see that happen. But it's really for people who have genuine interest, who would genuinely benefit from doing this, but who have financial barriers to investing in training. And disproportionately, that tends to be non-white people, that tends to be people of color, and I think most aerial communities out there are very welcoming, very anti-racist places, but the reality is the economics, that a lot of places taking an aerial class is $30-$40 for an hour class, and for the most part, people of color in the United States don't have that kind of money. So making some scholarships available when I can. No promises, guys, on how soon this is going to happen. I'm working on it. You are welcome to ask me about how it's coming, if you can help, and I'm going to try to make this happen, in a real way in the future. I know now we are in Lockport. We used to be in North Buffalo, and the studio was a little bit more diverse when we were in North Buffalo, because we were in Buffalo is more diverse than the suburbs, and it was the public transportation to get out to Lockport is now an issue, where it was much easier in Buffalo. So even when I'm thinking about scholarships, when I think about barriers people of color have to getting aerial training, like the location, the public transit, or anyone who just doesn't have the resources that more wealthy people tend to have, I'm thinking about what I can do to reach out, both in a financial sense and in a cultural and racial sense. And I welcome conversations about that. I welcome help. I welcome feedback on any of that. But, I prefer to do it kind of behind the scenes until there is something real to show for it. I don't want to just pay lip service to the cause. So, but feel free to talk to me about it always, about anything. So that brings me to point number 2, which is holding space for lots of topics. So we are an aerial studio. We are not an activist organization. I want to make that clear. But there are some really great activist circus organizations out there that you should check out. But a lot of us are in the studio a lot. A lot of us have become close friends. We get to know each other, and there's a lot of conversations that are had, around the trapezes and the liras and whatever else. And those conversations range on a variety of topics, really. Sometimes we do talk about race, that comes up. Sometimes we talk about other things that are political. And I say sometimes, most of what we talk about is aerial related, but I think we all kind of know, it becomes known where everybody stands on these issues, even if we don't talk about them a lot. And we talk, sometimes we talk about stuff that's just personal, that's important to us in our personal lives, emotional things that we're experiencing. And my goal is really just to have a space where people feel comfortable being their genuine selves. People of all races, people of all backgrounds, whoever you are, whatever you are bringing with you, that you will be respected, that you will be listened to. And I think having a space where that is genuinely true, just that kind of space in and of itself fights back against a lot of the things that harm us in society. A lot of the things that cause disrespect, that cause pain. So just having a space where respect is the rule that we all abide by, and most of us, I know, stand very firmly against anything that is racist, and I think there are also some people who don't really talk about it a lot, who maybe don't think about it, who maybe don't know where they stand yet, and I think that's okay too. I don't think racism is okay, but I think it's okay to take time to figure it out, to just take it in, to just think about it in your own personal way, and take time to figure it out. And and if people come with that mindset of like, I don't know how I think about this, I don't want to be the one to tell them how to think. I just want to create an environment where, we can share thoughts, and what eventually comes out is inclusion and respect and tolerance for all types of people, especially those types of people who have so frequently been excluded and targets of discrimination. So there's that. And then the third thing is that, if you are someone like me who really tends to think about these issues a lot, sometimes you just need to climb the silks. And I know I'm a white girl, and I know, I can stop thinking about race, whenever I want. In theory, in reality, it's on my mind a lot. And not just race, like a lot of the problems in our society. Like, my boyfriend is a sociologist, so I hear about it a lot, we talk about it a lot, it's on my own mind a lot. I have 2 other jobs outside of the aerial studio where issues of social inequality, and not necessarily just racial, but socioeconomics across the board, issues of the environment, issues of women's rights, they're on my mind a lot. I need to unplug sometimes, and I think, even non-white people, from what I've heard, need to unplug from the racial conversation sometimes. Even probably your most hardcore environmentalists need to unplug from, climate change sometimes. And I think the studio is a place that a lot of people kind of rely on for that in some ways. And I don't want to take that away. I'm trying to find a balance where it's like, if you come and you just need to and sometimes getting a good workout in is a way to just burn off all your anger about problems in America and just go at it. And then plus we've got all these muscles, which I think being a strong woman, a strong human is is a way to, I don't like the word empowerment, but just is a way to feel comfortable and secure and confident in yourself, and that also is an act of resistance. So if you want to just do that, if you want to just come to the studio and get your aerial on, cool. If you want to talk to me about anything in particular that's on your mind, I try to listen. I'm not a therapist by any stretch of the imagination, but I listen. Most of us, all of us at the studio, respect each other, listen and care about each other. And that's really the bottom line. I think that's a lot of the bottom line about hopefully, in the racial justice matters, are just to be respectful and to care about other humans, regardless of what they look like, you know, and that is what we do. So that is what I'm about. That is what Buffalo Aerial Dance is about. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but I just want you all to know. So, thanks.